All right, so we've got Honorable Uche Onyagocha here with us. He's the Chief Returning Officer for the PDP candidates. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
So, having seen that report, yes, it may be the usual 2 minutes or thereabout, but that's what happened. Give us your own perspective of the matter. What exactly transpired?
Well, the truth is that it's a clear case of electoral violence perpetrated by Governor Okorocha. And if I may take us a little bit back to 2015, he did the same thing in the same Olu senatorial zone. I was a member of APC at that time. I was very close with, to him, and he used his vehicle to block the road, to wale materials, but at that time, he wasn't as successful as he was this time around.
And you were in the party at the time?
Yes, I was a member of APC. I was the senatorial candidate of APC for Owerri senatorial zone in 2015. So
they were doing it for you to win?
No, they were not doing it for me. He was doing it for the same Olu zone, because Governor Okorocha has never ever won Olu zone. If you may recall, when Buhari came to Imo State, he promised on TV that he was putting aside 3.5 billion naira for the president's election. How many votes did he score in Olu zone for the president? Less than 40,000 votes in the whole of Olu zone. The results are there. So with which votes is he saying that he won this election? He actually lost in Government House polling booth, where he scored only 7 votes in the Government House multi-purpose polling booth. So the truth is that he knows nobody is with him, and the only way through which he can get himself declared a senator is by grabbing it under duress and the threatening and the holding the man hostage until he's declared winner. And as far as I'm concerned, that declaration is illegal.
Was it actually under duress? Because they said that there were several party agents who were present on that day. And he had announced results. He announced the first, he announced the second, he announced the third, up until, I think, 7 or 8, before he then said he got a call that the REC wanted him to move the materials to Owerri for collation, and then people thought that was a little odd, which eventually we also heard that the REC denied that there was no such thing. Did that ever happen, this narrative?
Well, take it back to the beginning. The truth is that on that fateful day, many of the security agencies compromised the integrity of the election because they sabotaged it at the behest of the governor, because there were complaints all over the place. The commissioner of police...
Is this in the whole state or Imo West particularly?
Most particularly in Imo West, where Governor Okorocha comes from, because he couldn't actually do that much in Owerri, but he did it to the best of his ability. But across Imo West, he perpetrated all manners of electoral violence. For a start, 2 days before the election, at the International Conference Center in Owerri, he was bringing people from outside the state.
Did you see him do that?
Yes, of course. Everybody saw
him do that.
There were loads and loads of buses conveying people whom he brought from all over the country into International Conference Center, and he moved them from there with buses into Olu senatorial zone, and they camped them at the Rochas Foundation College. And I am certain he will do the same in this election. I challenge channels to come to Imo State on that day. We will take them to International Conference Center, where he will be evacuating his people from that point.
Well, the report was done by channels, and channels is already present there. The report was done by channels.
Well, you have only one camera. Yeah. Your camera can only be at one point at a time.
You still haven't answered the question of the 31 party agents who said that that the man was not telling the truth.
There were 74 parties that contested the election, and we know that so many of them are shelf political parties. You can always arrange 31 shelf political parties to speak on your behalf. The election was between 2 or 3 political parties: PDP, APC, and ABGA. So what happens is that on every occasion, all those other shelf political parties work at the behest of the 3 or 2 major political parties. So those 31 political parties he claims were speaking on his behalf, you can always get another 20-something who will tell the truth on this other election.
Well, the man that says he's was under duress, I don't know if the practice is that anyone who is under duress will actually be saying he's under duress when there is no gun. According to that report, for what we could see, pointed to his head.
Yeah, but what about his family? Where were they at that point?
But wait,
did he ever make any call to the resident electoral commissioner to say the condition under he found himself in Olu senatorial zone on that day? The answer is a big yes. Did the electoral commissioner, the resident electoral commissioner, ask him what was going on? Everybody knows that too many people were under military siege in Olu zone on the date of the election.
But at what point did he say he was under duress while the results were being announced?
No, he had been held for hours inside the place, and they were insisting that he should read out the result of the election.
Yeah, but at what point was that? Because there's a trajectory.
Where you are threatened that if you do not read the result of the election, we already know where your family is, they are going to be taken out, and you can put a call through to your family, and he's able to put a call through to the resident electoral commissioner to say, this is what I'm going through. But these people are going to kill me. And I can tell you in Imo State, everybody knows that the commissioner of police in Imo State is in the pocket of the governor of the state. There is no complaint you make to the commissioner that he will follow through to ensure that the governor does not have his way.
I don't know how you came to that conclusion, because, I mean, people would
The commissioner of police lived in the governor's house for a long time while he was in the state.
Well, we can't verify that at the moment.
Everybody knows it, because everybody knows the governor's house where he was living before he became governor. But behind Concord Hotel, that's where the commissioner of police resided for a long time.
But how come you say that the returning officer says that his family was threatened, which is, you say that is out there, but it's equally out there that the rec says there was no such thing of him asking the returning officer to come to Owerri with the result? How come you ignored that part?
I am not saying that the rec asked the commission, asked the returning officer. No, because I wasn't in any telephone conversation between the rec and the returning officer.
Were you in any between the rec and the returning officer when his family was threatened?
I am aware that the governor on many occasions threatened the rec in Imo State that he was not playing with him.
How can you verify that?
Yes, because the truth is that when the rec came into the state for a start, the governor complained to everybody that the rec refused to pay him a courtesy visit for almost 9 months from the date he arrived in the state, because the rec wanted to play strict by the rules.
Is that a threat?
No, when he came in, it wasn't a threat. When he came in originally, he didn't go paying any courtesy because he wanted to play neutral with everybody. So the governor was complaining to everybody and was also even threatening the rec that he's disappointed and angry that he could come into the state without paying him a courtesy visit.
So what was the threat? And at what point did he come?
At what point? Well, normally, as the time gets closer, he also will have to go interface with him briefly. But he felt he should do it at the time he felt that it will amount to being neutral to all, rather than pledging himself or throwing himself.
So was that the threat from the governor to the officer?
Everybody knows that at all times, whenever you come in as a person coming to play that kind of role in the state, if you do not go to see the governor, he will take it that you're not on his side. And
okay, that's what you consider as a threat?
No. What I consider as a threat is that we are aware that he has called the rec himself repeatedly, threatening that he is not playing balls with him.
How do you know this? Does the rec tell you this?
No. I wasn't. Well, I'm not directly talking about what the rec told me, but people around the rec were also bringing the information.
Or
to what extent the governor has been harassing the rec?
Did this happen when you and the governor were close friends?
When I was with the governor, I knew I've always known the governor as a desperate man. And I'm telling you this with authority.
Did this happen when you were, did he have to call any rec?
When I was with the governor was also calling people and threatening them on election date. Quote me. And the governor can't deny it.
So is this what politicians do?
Well, some politicians do it when they feel they have advantage and they want to take advantage of it.
Do you do it?
No, I've never done it because I've never been a member of the government in power. You can only do that effectively if you are a member of a government in power. I was a member of ABGA when I went to House of Representatives in 2003. So I wasn't in any position of advantage to do it. You have to be in a position of advantage to be able to do that.
Are you aware that this back and forth is capable of endangering the lives of the people you want to make their lives better?
Of course, we know. We know. Because there is a serious battle in the state to get things right. We know why the governor is very desperate to hang on to power or install his own stooges as the next governor of Imo State, and why he's desperately fighting to grab all this by force. But there is a simple way to get all this sorted out. There is the card reader. How many card readers are in Olu zone on that day? Can INEC protect all the card readers in Imo State, in Imo West Senatorial Zone? Can we now not tell any stories about the card readers? Bring all the card readers in Imo West Senatorial Zone, do an audit of all the card readers in Imo West Senatorial Zone, compare the figure you get from the card readers, see whether it matches with the votes with which Okorocha is claiming that he's the new senator-elect. It's a very simple thing.
Yeah, but Honorable, you still haven't told us, because, I mean, the narrative out there is that when the returning officer started announcing results, yes, at that point, he didn't say he was under duress. It was after he had announced 1, 2, 3, up to 8, and then he claimed that he got a call from the REC to move the material. So the members, the people that were there, said, look, no, we don't think you didn't get any call from anybody. Besides, you can't move announcement of results from Olu election of INEC office to Owerri, because that's against the law. So they were the ones who said yes.
It's not against the law if there is a threat to the peace there.
Yeah, but that's
because
the thing.
That is not the first time.
Before that time.
No. Let us take it from the beginning.
Where is the beginning?
Was there military presence of armed people inside the collection point?
Is that against the law for them to be inside?
No, they shouldn't be.
No, is that what you say is the beginning?
Yes. You take advantage of it. On whose behest did the armed military escorts come into the collection point?
Okay, but assuming without considering that that's the case, why then did he announce 1, 2, 3, up to 7 when that presence was there? Why was it when he got to 8 he realized that then he was under duress?
Beautiful, simple question. If you are being hostage, at what point are you going to begin to show that you are being held hostage? Is it at the beginning where your life is threatened, or where you feel a little bit secure that there are more people paying attention to the fact? If you are being held a hostage in a car and the car is moving on the way, by the time you see a police checkpoint, would you immediately jump out and start shouting that you're being held hostage? You will only be patient until that car slows down and the police asks them to wind down, and then you gradually start feeling safe before you start revealing the fact that you're being held hostage. Or else the people could take you out.
Okay, so if he then says he was under duress, why is it that he's the only one who could corroborate that he was under duress among those who were present in there? Because there were other other agents who were there, who said they were all waiting for the results to be announced.
Agents of who?
Other political parties.
That's what I'm telling you. How many political parties participated in that election? How many agents of those political parties were present? How many of those agents are speaking on behalf of Governor Okorocha? And how many of those agents are also speaking on behalf of the other candidates?
Okay, so other candidates, the party agents, they were there. Your party agent was equally there.
Yes.
At what point did he raise this objection that, yes, look, the man is really under duress?
When the man felt that...
No, not the returning officer. Who? Your party agent.
You don't understand the level of militarization of the place. On many occasions, before this kind of incident comes in, the party agent is actually a whisk away by the police, who start by harassing you, quarreling with you, and pretending as if it is because of that quarrel they are pulling you out of the place. And it's only when they pull you out, they take advantage, and the media will move it. And they create that scenario that all is calm and start announcing it. So it's only at that point when the returning officer feels a little bit safe. Because if you say, look, read this thing or else I'll shoot you, you pretend as if you are now willing and happy and ready to read it.
But that was not what was said, was it? Read it or I'll shoot you.
Were you there? The guns were
Your party agent was there. Did he tell you that that's what was said?
Of course, we know that there was serious threats to the man's life and serious threat to the life of every electoral officer in that axis for the purpose of the election.
What exactly is what's the precise function of a returning officer?
To announce the results of the elections that were collated.
By who? Collated by who?
By him, the returning officer. Because he has to supervise the final collation of the results.
But he wasn't the one that went to each of the polling units.
No. There are several stages. The election takes place at the polling units, and they are moved to the ward collation center for summing up.
By the presiding officers?
Yeah, by the presiding officer.
Okay.
Once they finish collating at the ward, all the presiding officers, their job is finished. The ward collation officers will move their results to the local government, and then they collate it at the local government level. At that point, the job of the ward collation officer is finished. The LGA collation officer will carry his result and proceed to the zonal collation point, where they will begin to collate results. But let me tell you part of what happened.
So at which point did any of these different levels ever say at any point that the results that were being announced by the returning officer were not true?
At several of these levels, the collation officers disappeared. At several of these points, the collation officers went to different politicians to go do some deals with them. So when they come back with the result, at the different times they claim that they are now free to do the collation, the collation officer has a right and a responsibility, just like the returning officer, to say, where have you been? What is the result? Can we see it? If there are mutilations, what is the total number of votes cast? What is the total number of rejected votes? And what are the genuine votes? In most cases, by the time they are doing all this collation, you find out that there are cases of overvoting. And that is where the role of the returning officer and the collation officer begins.